I'm feeling a little philosophical as I'm walking on this beautiful beach here in Costa Rica. So, in today's video, I wanted to share with you a comment that one of my viewers left and share my thoughts because I think it'll be helpful to a lot of us. And that comment was, "Hey, Azul, my spouse and I were worth almost $1 million. We're worth $800,000. We're in our 50s, and I feel we're missing out on life." This super important question because none of us get redos on this thing called life. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about why this happens, and more importantly, what all of us can do. So, the good news, bad news is for people that are good savers, it can be hard for them to transition and say, okay, you know what? We've made a lot of progress. We now have a nice foundation. We now have a nice base, and we can let our money work harder for us than we are. I mean, think about it. When you have about $800,000, if you get an 8% return on that, how much, the $64,000 question is, how much money does your account grow by if you get 8% on 800,000? It's $64,000. So the question is the answer in this case. And that's a lot of money. There's very, very few of us that could save that kind of money. And so one thing is just recognizing that you have done a lot of the hard work already. And now it's your money's job to do the hard work. Now, it's not just going to happen. If you put that money in the bank, you're not going to get 8% on that, at least in today's environment. And so it's not enough to save that money. We also have to invest it. And I want you to think about your money almost like being soldiers, army soldiers. And you're sending them out to work hard for you so you don't have to work as hard. And give yourself the freedom to say, you know what, maybe you've been saving 20, 25% or 15%. That's a lot. Very few Americans can save that much. And so give yourself permission to say, you know what, we don't need to save 20% a year now. Maybe we can save 15%. And I really encourage you to come up with a financial plan and see how much is enough. How much do you need to save in order to live the life that you want to live? And job number one is thinking through how much are you going to spend in retirement. And once you get a good feel for that, the next task, I think, for any of us is I want to encourage you to test drive that budget, to try to live on that budget and see, does it feel sacrificial? If you're married, really important. It's really important that both spouses are on board for how much that they're going to spend in retirement. Because what costs a lot more than spending an extra $1,000 a month in retirement? What costs a lot more is divorce. So you want to make sure you're both on track with that, and you're both honestly on track with that. Oftentimes there's one partner that's really into thinking about budgets, and there's another one that's not. And so if you're the one that's into it, I really want you to think about how can you make this fun for your spouse? And what does your ideal retirement look like? Don't start with, how inexpensively can we do this? Because I can tell you, you can do retirement pretty inexpensively. Unfortunately, about half of all Americans, almost, a lot of their retirement funds is what comes from Social Security. So how inexpensively can you do it? You can do it pretty inexpensively. The average Social Security check in 2024 was just a little over $2,000 a month, $1,920. And that's before they take out money for your Medicare premium, stuff like that. So don't start with, hey, how inexpensively can I do this? But start, with things like this, I want to go to Costa Rica. I want to have fun. Now I'm still somewhat frugal. And so I'm doing this, there's an expensive way to do Costa Rica. There's, the backpacker way to do Costa Rica, and there's the middle of the road. So I'm closer to the middle of the road style, but think about what retirement looks like, what the expenses are, and then I would encourage you to hire a professional to help you come up with a plan. And I know a lot of folks are not going to hire a professional because, financial advisors, mea culpa, I was a financial advisor for 20 years, a little over 20 years. Most of us charge about 1% a year for the money that we're managing. So if we're managing $1 million for a family, that's $10,000 a year that we get paid. And my rationalization for that is I think we help people make better decisions. And if a family makes one 10% mistake, that pays a financial advisor's fee for 10 years at 1% a year. So, but I still know a lot of folks aren't going to use a professional financial advisor. You're going to want to do it yourself. I'd urge you not to use Excel. I'd urge you not to use Google Sheets. It's just too easy to forget something, to make an error. And what you want is confidence. And so I encourage you to use some of the software that's out there for folks like you and I to come up with our own plans. The software I like is called Bolden. It's very inexpensive. It's very comprehensive. It's about $10 a month, $120 a year. If you sign up using this link here, you'll be supporting the channel. This video is not sponsored by Bolden, but I am an affiliate. So if you sign up with this link, you'll be supporting me and my channel. So thank you. Okay, let's keep going. So we talked about having a budget, having a plan, knowing what it's going to look like in retirement. And then the next thing is, we talked about having our money work hard for us. And so the next thing is, do we know that our money is working as hard for us as it can without working too hard and potentially putting us at risk? None of us want that, right? We only have to become financially independent once. We only have to get ready to retire once. And then once we get there, the job number one is don't mess that up. So is our money working as hard for us as it can while not taking unnecessary risk? And that comes down to your asset allocation. What percent of your portfolio is in stocks? What percent of your portfolio is in bonds? And I encourage you to give a lot of thought to that because it's going to determine over 80% of the success of those money soldiers that are going out and working for you. It's time in the market, not trying to time the market. So keep it plain, simple, vanilla. You don't need to go crazy with this. Just a good, solid asset allocation. That's probably going to determine 80% of your success. And then you also want to be aware that as we get older, our tolerance for risk and the pain of our portfolio going down increases dramatically once we don't have a paycheck coming in, because then we can't benefit from lower prices and we can't benefit with new money being invested at those lower prices. And we're reliant on the evil twin of dollar cost averaging, which is what that's called when new money's coming in and you're investing it at lower pricing. The evil twin is sequence return risk, which can be devastating for new retirees because if we get bad returns when our assets are at their highest level, we could easily lose $100,000 very, very quickly. Versus in the last 10 years of your life, your account balance is going to be low. So if you like videos like this, I encourage you to watch the next video. YouTube knows what types of videos you like watching. And this is what it said you should watch next. Thanks for watching this one. Bye-bye.